And we're back. Well, the block is done, so to speak, so it's back. We took it home. We're going to talk about the MID sleeves, the Gen 2 sleeves done by Edmel. Look at that, and we'll show you the balance. Initial balance on the one-up pistons, even the rods. And we'll talk about this, the breather system, and even the most often asked is the valve cover breather. We'll talk about why it spills oil. And of course, the block breather from the block, which is different from a B20 because this is a B16b Vtec block like a B18c and a B16a. So we'll show you guys what we do with this, and this is something you won't want to miss. Alright, first of all, our new page is up and running, and we got the link in the description below, so you gotta like and follow that, because here we have the pinned prices there. And of course, we do updates there that don't get to the videos here in this channel, like for example my head, and even this, the computation of deck height and what piston and block we're using on the D series. We share all the math needed there to calculate it. And of course, even all the random stuff that always don't really make into the video, we always post it there. So that's something that you gotta check, because look, we even post reels of what we're doing there during the day and a regular day of the shop. We're gonna keep showing it, so it's something that you're gonna like. So hit up the like button and follow the page, guys, because I'll be making the habit of posting technical stuff on the page. This way you always come back to it for your notes, right? Alright, now here we are. Since we're going 2 liter now, it's 84, or this is actually 84.5 millimeter bore, so it's 84.5 and 87.2 ITR crank. That's a good 2 liter. So we're gonna start checking the initial balance of this, because we haven't balanced it. We're just gonna check it now with you guys before balancing it. Okay, we time-lapse this so it doesn't get too boring, and we're gonna write the weight on the dome of each piston. Alright. And you can see there, I was actually surprised it was really close. So here, let's look at it close. Look at this. Piston number 1 is 352.6 grams. And then it's 352.5 grams. 352.6 and then 352.8. That's all within 0.3 grams. That's pretty cool, right? So one up pistons, yep. You can actually run this without even balancing it. It'll still be really close enough. But of course, we are all about the small details to gain every single power that we can. So that's why we check it this way. This way we can rebalance it to within 0.1. Now, before we go to the breather system, talk about the idea and the tech that we're gonna do, let's check out the sleeves, the awesome Edmel sleeves. But let me flex this a little bit more. You see the pistons are ready, and of course the ITR race modded polished beam rods that we did. We're still gonna fine tune or fine balance the rods and the pistons to get even closer than within 0.1 or 0.2 of a gram. So as long as we're going to keep it as close as possible, that's going to be running smoother and better and more chances of making power, right? Yes. Now would you look at that? Oh yeah. Look at those MID braced sleeves. That's really good. This is like much like Darton MID sleeves, or even Ramey Racing or JBRE. They do excellent job. If you're in the US, you gotta go to Darton, Ramey Racing, or JBRE, because Edmel is local to us. This is our choice because it's closer and there's no shipping cost and or shipping hassle. Look at that. That's really good. This is actually rated for 1,000 horsepower. They can't rate it higher because no one else has done it higher than 1,000. And of course, you can't really claim something that's not withstanding it yet. Sorry. I mean, hey, we're willing to build a 1,400 horsepower sleeve. If Edmel just sponsors us this, we would. Well, it's gonna be costly even the turbo. So I'll have to think about that. Here you can see the bore still has the honing oil because Edmel told us that, you know, they didn't clean it because it's gonna rust up. And I told them we do exactly the same thing. We clean this the last minute before the final assembly. This way we prevent all the flash rust or all the chances of flash rust and remain it clean. All right. And while on the subject, let me show you something. Alright, here on all rebuilds, even if you're rebuilding stock or even if we are rebuilding stock, we clean the engine or the whole block thoroughly. We remove this because that's the oil passage feeding the main bearing. So we remove this, especially on this one because this was re-sleeved. So we gotta check everything because there might be debris or machining debris, and that's normal. So we gotta clean that, remove this. And on this side, let me put this back. Hold on, hold on. All right, there. Now let's turn this, because that oil passage goes through and through from one side, from the transmission side to the pulley side. Here, let me turn. Can you see it? Wait, no, you guys can see it. Let me push this block a little bit more. Oh, there. All right. So here we even remove this. This way, when we're cleaning the block thoroughly, it pushes dirt from one side to the other, through and through. So it gets cleaned up really good. Yes, sir. All right, just put this back so we don't want to lose this. All right. Okay, there. Okay, now let me talk about the oil drain system on the B series because it's a lot better than the single overhead cam. Here, all right, and you can see this two here at the back of the block is an oil drain from the head, draining oil from the head, and four up the front. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you're revving high enough, the head starts filling up with oil, so it's gotta drain back down here. This way it gets to the crankshaft or the oil pan, and it feeds back to the oil pump. So that's a natural sequence, right? But if you have too much or way too much crankcase pressure from the block, it starts relieving itself upwards or upwards out of this drain. So it's not really draining oil in that case. I mean, it's being hindered or there's a hindrance by the crankcase pressure. So it's draining less because the pressure is pushing upwards to go out. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because this is like 90% or 95% the cause of why you're spewing oil from the valve cover. But before we check that, we're gonna put the link on this of the on in the description below of the tips and tricks on how to clean engine parts before final assembly. Because earlier on we're talking about how we clean it, right? This has every single detail, including cleaning crankshaft, pistons, rods, and even the block. So you gotta check it out. It'll be in the description below, alright? Okay, now let's head on to the valve cover. Oh, it's starting to get fun. Let's go. Alright, now, this is a different valve cover. We're just using it for an example, but it's still a B16 valve cover. Alright, we put the breather up front here, and when you look at it under the baffle, it's a proper location. Unlike the sock. On the sock, there's no baffle there. Let me show you the other side. There, you can see up front there's a baffle. So it won't get any splash of oil from the rocker arms or the springs, and on the sides, the breather section is more than adequate. Even if you put two extra breathers, it's still big enough. It'll breathe out pressure really good from here, right? So it's gonna be working good. However, without proper oil drain, you can let the oil level go up this high. It's gonna fill up, and if it's that high here, you're gonna start spewing oil. That's why people ask or wonder why when they put a breather, it spews oil. It's not really always just a breather. It's because the oil drain is not doing its job. Why? Because there's too much crankcase pressure from under the block or from the block under. Okay, now let's look at the Edmel Gen 2 sleeves once again. Ooh, it looks really, really good. And actually, this is good for all motor or even turbo because of the bracing and all the good stuff. Yes, sir. Okay, here. Now we talk about the breather section or the PCV system that we're going to work on. This is usually plugged when they put a breather fitting on both of these. But now for this, we're still gonna run the factory black box. Let's try to put it here so I can show you guys the example. Okay. Wait, oh crap, it's not. Okay, it needs to be bolted on in, so might just hold it with my hand while I explain. Let's try it. Come on. Oh, it's not going in, so I just gotta hold it now to show you guys. All right. On here, we keep this PCV system connected to the intake manifold, and this one goes to the block here like the factory, but we're gonna plan to put an extra fitting here. This way it goes to the breather box or the catch can, and then this one here we're gonna take this off and put the fitting and have an extra breather fitting there like this all the way to the catch can or the breather box. This way it relieves pressure when on full throttle, but part throttle, this PCV system that's connected to the intake will still evacuate pressure or crankcase pressure because it's pulling vacuum until about 50% throttle. This lets this oil drain here, like we showed earlier, completely drain oil and not fill up the head to the higher level of the amount. And here, so the pressure doesn't push it up, so it's not gonna spew oil on the valve cover even if you add two breather fittings on the valve cover. That's our solution and it actually works. And now one more look once again with the Edmel Gen2 MID sleeves. Oh yeah, it looks really good. Now this B16b project just took another level up because when you think about it, it has this air CF manifold here, of course stroked up to a B18C ITR crank and all this good stuff here. Oh yeah. And of course, needing to finish the balance on the pistons and even these race modded polished beam ITR rods. Of course, we're gonna get it all ready before even having it pressed in. So here's the pistons. We're working on this and we're gonna do a little bit of trimming to get all the balances perfect or within 0.1 grams at least. So hey, this is gonna be good, right? And of course, another one, the final cleaning of the sleeved B16b block. Yes, B16b. The final cleaning on this, and so that we can get and double check on the oil clearances on the ACL main bearings onto the crank and the rod itself, and do the final assembly with a CF air intake manifold like this and also the rods. Of course, the good stuff is gonna be when we degree the blocks B cams. You guys, you're gonna like that one because we're gonna talk about the details on that. So if that's for you, you definitely gotta subscribe and like this video, right? And of course, as soon as the next one is done, you can just always click here for that.